Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, you're all having a wonderful Friday. It is the weekend again, thank God. The snow is falling. I'm freezing me absolute titties off. And finally, we're at home, just finished work. We're all good. And we're here today to preview the big game at the weekend, North London Derby. One team's flying, one team isn't flying. And I'm joined here today by Kesh, who you may have seen on the Football Terrace most notably, but he has appeared on other channels as well. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, thank you, bro. How you doing?
Yeah, not so bad. Not so bad. Um, just thought I better let all the viewers know I do have to wear glasses now and again. You know, I get headaches now and again, so I have been prescribed glasses. I'm not just wearing them just to make myself look a bit more intelligent. So let's get straight into it then, mate.
hmm
North London Derby at the weekend. Big, big, big game. And as an Arsenal fan like myself, I just wanted to ask you, what does the North London Derby mean to you?
Needs everything, man. Like those scums down the road, like you've got to go and beat them. You got to put up the shame. For years, I've watched us do that. And over the last few years, seems like the table's changed. We've just got to go out there and just bring back the good old times, just beating the yids, innit?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Are you worried about the game at all?
So I'm always worried about a game with this Arsenal current Arsenal team. Yeah, I'm always worried. Um, but it's a North London derby, form. I know some people say the way we're playing, form doesn't really matter. We should lose, really and truly. But what you're open for is the players come out and show us something different. Like you can lose a game, but it's how you go about your game. Like you go out there and put on a performance.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I agree with you. I agree with you. Um, so obviously over the last couple of weeks, we've not been playing very well in the league. Um, we've been doing it in the Europa League, but not in the league. And then Tottenham, you know, flying high. Harry Kane banging goals, Son banging goals, Aubameyang's misfiring at the moment. We've not really got um, a settled team.
Mhm.
Um, the managers come under a lot of criticism. I mean, where do we start? Mikel Arteta.
Wait, I just it's not going well, but like you got to find a way of trying to find a solution to rally these players. We played well yesterday, but it's a different thing taking it over from Europe or league into the Premier League against better opposition, where you're not going to be getting time on the ball, etc., etc. Like you've got to up your levels, and
Yeah,
for so long now we've asked these players to up their levels, do it consistently, but we all failed to do that. So going into this game, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't play as good as we did yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised. So I'm not going into this game with any confidence. Looking back at the game that we just won, because football doesn't work like that. You can't just
yeah,
switch it on and switch it off. Like you got to have some consistency. The only thing that suggests that we might be able to get something out of this because with the North London derby, passion comes into play, and these players tend to turn up. Like you saw last season when we went there, the first game, we played terrible first half, and then we managed to up it in the second half, and the players knew they were playing poor. Obviously, it doesn't help that they're gonna have their fans there. We're not gonna have fans there. And with the form we're playing in, we could do with some of our fans rallying the players, getting them up for the game.
so obviously, anybody who doesn't know is, well, stupid, really. We did have a game in the Europa League last night, 1-4-1. Um, I don't know about you, Kesh, but I thought it was a pretty damn decent performance. Probably the best performance that we've seen all season, attacking wise, anyway. So, is there anybody who played yesterday who you would start on Sunday against Spurs?
I would start. I think we need to find the perfect balance in midfield if we're going to come out with anything out of this game. For me, the solution is not to throw a Granit Xhaka in there. It's not. We'll get overrun. Like, you keep trying the same thing and over and it fails. You've got to try something different rather than being persistent with the failure. And if you look at what Sky Sports put up and you see the way when you watch Granit Xhaka, he doesn't help his team. He's not a plus to this team. He's no benefit to this team whatsoever. You saw the likes of Maitland-Niles. As I said, it's not the greatest opposition that we played against, but you saw the difference it makes where you've got a mobile midfield and midfield that can work together, a dynamic midfield. You can't just sit back deep and just play it side to side. That's not football. You're never going to get anywhere with that. So whether Partey is fit or not, you've got to leave Granit Xhaka out for me. In terms of fullback, I'll be probably more inclined to giving Cedric a run at right back. You see how much of a threat he is going forward. Like, he can whip a ball in, a serious ball in. And I feel that could be a plus in this game because we need to have options all over the pitch in terms of creating chances.
What about this guy?
Yeah, like, I've been a critic of this guy this season. I've been on his case, and I feel my reasons are warranted for that. But where Arteta played him last week, I know we tried him in the game before the last game and it didn't really work. But this game, it seems like it kind of clicked a bit because there was more movement going around and there was lots of movement. He could pick a pass. You start him in that position, it's an option. But with the form, well, not even so much form, but with the way he played and the different variations that he offered in the game yesterday, I feel it should be a benefit to us. So yeah.
So if we're bearing that in mind, then I just wanted to run through what would your starting 11 be, Kesh? Because it's like you say, the Europa League. We're playing weaker opposition. You know, any team that we put out should look good against the opposition we was playing against. This is a completely different kettle of fish. We're playing a Tottenham team that are flying at the top of the league. They've got Jose Mourinho in charge. We tend to not do well against Jose Mourinho teams. You know, who do you? What's your starting 11 tomorrow? Sunday. Sorry.
My starting 11 tomorrow, going from the back, Leonard obviously. I'll put Cedric in there. I feel we just start freshening up in positions that's been letting us down. Like, despite the 6 assists that Bellerin got this season, it's not a benefit considering how many goals has come in over his side. So I feel we need to freshen it up, give someone else a chance. So I'll play Cedric at right back. Centre back partnership, you've got to go with probably. I'll say you go with So this is a difficult one. This is a difficult one for me, you know.
Yeah. Why is it so difficult? Who you got in your mind?
It's a toss up with David Luiz and Oldham, isn't it? But none of
David
them
Luiz and
feel.
Oldham.
No, like I'm saying, for the right side, Gabriel's obviously playing left at the left side, but
that surprises me because Pablo Mari, I know he's just come back from injury. He played very well last night, and do you think he gets a shout? I know he's a left.
I said I would play him, but I feel like remember when he got injured, he only played one game and 45 minutes in the Premier League. So I would like to think that he's still not up to pace with the league. And when you got a Kane and Song playing so close to you, like it could cause you problems. And I wouldn't be wanting to throw him into a game like this so soon. Bearing in mind he just came back from injury as well. Right. So I understand what you're saying. It probably would be a good option, Pablo Mari and Gabriel, but I wouldn't be sure to put him in so soon. So it's just I was having Louise and Odin, but I'll probably go with Odin rather than Louise. So I'll go Cedric, Odin, Gabriel, Tierney. Then in my
Just
midfield,
just before you move on to your midfield,
hmm
I know this is obviously your starting lineup, but
hmm
what do you think, Mikel Arteta? Do you think he'll go with a back four, or do you think he'll go
Yeah,
back to a back three?
no, I think he's gonna stick with that four. I don't think he's gonna change it.
Okay.
So I think I'm open past his fit. I'm hearing that he's putting pressure on the Arsenal staff themselves, letting them know that he's ready. But obviously, you've got to follow the medical instructions. If he's fit, I'd be more than willing to throw him in with, say, I'll throw him in with. It's gonna be Nenny, but I would be willing to give Maitland-Niles a chance next to him. Because I feel that midfield combination is possibly a good option for us. If you want to play that passing, moving football, I think it will be great for us. Going forward now, Pepe looked different. He looked a lot more unpredictable over on the left hand side. I don't know if that was just me.
Is
Like
he? He's not available for this game, though, is he?
oh yeah, he's not available, is he? Oh, gonna have to put probably yeah, it's gonna be Saka in it. Saka, it's gonna be Saka. I'm not even gonna go for what I want because I'm not gonna get that. It's gonna be Saka. There's gonna be. I reckon he's gonna put Lacazette in there in the 10. I reckon he's gonna do that. He's gonna put Willian on the right. I think he's gonna put Adamian on top.
Okay. Okay. That's an interesting starting lineup, I think, because especially that front four. I know Willian. I mean, I don't particularly rate him. I don't know about you, Kesh, but
No.
since he's been here, he's not done anything.
Mm-hmm.
But when you read them names off, one by one, and you
Mm-hmm.
look at that and you think Aubameyang, Lacazette, Willian, Saka,
Mm-hmm.
that's attacking. That is an attacking front four.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest problem that we're having in this team at the moment is we're not scoring goals.
Cool.
Surely we've got to score goals with them four.
With them
Sure.
four, surely. Yeah, I think you've got to. Well, not even just this game. Like this is a North London derby. We can't go into this game and get absolutely mullered and not score any goals. I dread to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're saying, mate. Honestly, this game for me personally, and for many Arsenal fans, and I suppose yourself as well, when you get the fixture list at the beginning of the season, I don't know about you, but the first game
First
that I
game
look
you look
for
for.
is Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
Home or away, it's Tottenham. And that is because we don't ever want to be, losing to these guys. They've
Mm-hmm.
been in our shadow for years and years and years. And if I'm being honest, and this is just me being honest here, like I'm worried. I'm worried.
Mm-hmm.
They look decent at the moment, and they look like they could possibly put up a title challenge. What do you think?
Um, I don't think they'll put up the title challenge. Maybe that's my Arsenal head, but I just generally don't see it because when I look at it, as soon as you lose a person like Harry Kane or something or a song, your team's gonna become unstuck. I think they can push, but I feel after say mid January, I feel like they probably will fall off. If they're not there, if they're not still there by the end of January, then I'll rule out a title race.
Okay.
I still feel Liverpool's probably the strongest for it. So Liverpool would have to drop off drastically in order for that to happen.
Mm.
But in terms of the long-term future, if they maybe does, if a Mourinho doesn't happen at Tottenham, then in the long term, then I can see them actually pushing on because give Jose a few transfer windows, that squad then becomes a lot better. They have more depth and they won't have to worry about injuries. But I think it's too soon this season for them to be up there like that. But it is worrying. It is worrying. If we don't sort it out and start stepping in the right direction, it could be us in their shadows for a very long time.
No. Oh, mate, I tell you, if that day comes, I'm going into hiding, mate. And that is it.
Mate, that's it. Honestly,
Yeah. Maybe it's what most Arsenal fans need to be able to pluck up the courage to get these owners out.
yeah.
Because,
Mm.
you know, at the moment, we as Arsenal fans, if we're being real, over the last 10 years or so, we've accepted mediocrity.
Mediocrity from say 2008, we've accepted that. Once we lost the likes of the Cesc, the Nasris, the direction we went in was just pure average expectation. Because wasn't a problem winning a trophy in 2004 and then going 4 years without winning it when you consider the likes of Man United was there, you had Chelsea that come in splashing the money, but going longer than 4 years, that's where fans should have been saying, "Hold on a minute, what's going on here?" But it's taken so many this long to realize that we were sold a dream, and now it's a problem where it's gone on for so long, it's hard to repair.
Yeah, exactly. I completely get where you're coming from. So, right, and this is playing, I suppose, in a way, a little bit of devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
But we know Spurs, yeah, they tend to bottle it.
Yeah.
They tend to bottle it. They have done in the past. And if they happen to be in a title race
Mm-hmm.
and they bottle it again this year, this guy here on the left-hand side,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Harry Kane, do you see him being at Spurs at the end of the season? Or do you think he'll go?
No, you'll be at Spurs. You'll be at Spurs.
You think he'll
I
stay?
think I think I think Imran Song has been sold to the Jose project. Whether it's gonna come to fruition and it's gonna be a project or it's gonna be another Jose scandal is a different thing. But I'll give him another season after this. I feel if he goes into next season and still don't win anything, I think then you're gonna start hearing noise rumbling on that he's considering his options. Because by then he's gonna be what 30, something like that, 29,
Yeah, I
something
think
like
he's
that.
about
Yeah,
28 now, yeah.
yeah. So it's up to him. Like ideally, you would think if it doesn't work out next season again, he would have some ambition and want to go and win something. Because him, I can see him beating Shearer's record. But for me, is he going to want to be that player that looks back and think, oh yeah, I got the Premier League all-time goals scoring record, but no titles to show for it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, take your Arsenal bias out of this,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I've been hearing this debate quite a bit over the last couple of days on other channels, various other channels. So we just showed Harry Kane, but who's better, Harry Kane or this guy here, our man, our main man, Aubameyang?
Harry Kane's a better player. He's a better all-round player, I'll say. But if I've got a winning team that's being backed and you've got the best players in that team, I'm going for Aubameyang because I know he's going to finish all the chances. That's all you need him for. But obviously, Kane can bring other people into play. It all depends on what you want, really, as a striker. But for me, I just want a clinical goal scorer who's just going to be lethal, which they both are in their own right.
Yeah, no, I totally get you. I suppose the one downfall with Harry Kane is he tends to have a big injury every
Injury.
season,
Yeah,
and
and that's the
Aubameyang
thing.
doesn't
That's the
really have injuries, does he?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you've got your striker and he's your starting striker, how do you win a title if he's always injured? Like, I understand you can bring a backup in, but a backup is never going to be, for say, as good as your main striker. And then you're going to say, well, you should be able to come in and provide that backup. But I don't see it. You're a backup for a reason. That's why you're a backup. You know what I mean?
Mm, mm. So, with the game on Sunday, then Kesh, where
Mhm.
is the game won and lost for Arsenal?
I think it's one in midfield. I think that's where it's won. If we can win that midfield battle, disrupt Auburn, because that's their best signing this season. And I said it the moment they got him, I said that's the typical Jose Mourinho signing. You put him in the starting lineup, he does what Jose Mourinho wants to do, what tells him to do. He disrupts the midfield of the opposition, and he just recycles the ball. He doesn't do anything complicated. He doesn't try to be the shining light of the team. He just goes about his
Who's that,
job
Hoiberg,
quietly.
did you say?
Yeah, he just goes
Yeah,
about his job quietly. And if we don't manage to cause him any problems or disrupt his game, then I feel Spurs will go on and win this game comfortably.
interesting one. What about another player I've been quite impressed with in their team? I don't like to say it too much because I shouldn't really be impressed with Spurs at all.
Mm.
It's yeah, not a great feeling being an Arsenal fan, especially when you think, you know, you look at their midfield. Another midfielder that I'm going to name here,
And
um,
Dembele,
Ndombele. Yeah,
technically,
quality player.
quality player,
And
quality
if
player.
we see it at the weekend, and Thomas Partey does manage to get himself in the side
Mm-hmm.
after passing a few fitness tests and that, who wins that battle, Partey or Ndombele?
See, the key to stopping Ndombele won't just be a one-man job. Partey can do it. Partey can man mark him all game, but it's about Partey's partner next to him, just picking up the pieces. Because like Partey's got those long legs. They call him octopus for a reason. And there's going to be times where he's going to be making tackles, but the tackles might not be clean. They might fall to another Spurs player, and that's where you're going to need the other midfielders to make sure they're covering. Because I'm always confident Partey stopping the man on the ball. That's not the problem. It's about who picks up the pieces afterwards. So them two's going to have a good chemistry in the midfield, whoever it is.
Hmm. And of course, it's the battle of the managers.
Mm-hmm.
The experienced one, the special one, he used to call himself, Jose Mourinho. And, he's won 2 trophies, Arteta,
Mm-hmm.
um, if you can call the Community Shield a trophy. Um, but I suppose he's still a bit of a novice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it looks like he doesn't really know his best um, team at
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal. Um, who wins the battle for you?
Oh, listen, we're going in the underdog. We're going into this game as underdogs. Underdog team, underdog manager. So, but I feel Arsenal do rally when in these games. These are the sort of games that Arsenal do tend to somehow pull it out of the bag somehow. So I expect, as I said, without my Arsenal head on or being biased, I expect Spurs to come to this game and win. But I'm hoping that these boys can go out there and prove everyone wrong, that they're not no pushovers. No matter what bad form we're in, we're always here to turn up for North London Derby. And that for me, despite everything that's going on this season, if Arsenal could manage to pull off a result here, every fan will completely just forget what's already gone on. Like, this is a big game. this is the biggest game of our season so far. So it's about setting an example and making our fans proud, not going out there and being walked over and letting Spurs think that they can come, that Arsenal can come in and they can give us a slapping, like what they done to Man United. Like that will not be acceptable for me.
So obviously we're on the managers. So I mean, I've said it before. For me, I would have took Jose Mourinho as manager before Arteta got the job. What would you say to that, Kesh? Would you have took Mourinho or?
I wouldn't have taken Mourinho. I genuinely wouldn't have, because I know Mourinho is not a guy that's willing to stay there long term, and I don't feel this job is a short fix. Like, even though Mourinho's doing well at Tottenham right now, I don't see him at Spurs for longer than 3 seasons. I generally don't. If he proves me wrong, then I'll put my hand up and I'll say, great, like we should have got Jose Mourinho. But he's not the manager that stays around that job for too long. Whether that's to do with him walking out or him getting sacked because he's lost the dressing room, the typical Jose scandal when he's not getting what he likes. You know what I mean? Like, and that's always a possibility with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, everything's going all rosy right now, so people are going to give him plaudits and credit where credit's due.
Yeah, completely. And on our manager, Mikel Arteta, again, going to play a little bit devil's advocate here. Obviously, everybody on my channel, every channel that I've appeared on knows that I'm Arteta out. I genuinely, it doesn't matter about the result at the weekend. I just don't believe that this guy is good enough to manage Arsenal Football Club until he proves me otherwise. But let's just say, Kesh, I don't think it'll happen. I pray and hope that it doesn't happen. But let's just say we take an absolute drubbing at the weekend. Let's just say, Spurs put 5 past us. What do you say about the manager then? Are you still pro Arteta, or would you want him gone, or how do you feel about the situation?
My heart would want to keep him. But speaking as a logical fan, like that using my logic, like you would deserve the sack for that. Like there's no time Arsenal should ever be playing a Spurs and getting spanked. As I said, it's with context. If we go over there and Spurs actually take our pants down and give us a spanking, then yeah, you're totally right to lose your job.
What about this scenario? I've said it before as a joke. What about this scenario? We sack Arteta, we give him a kit, we give him a pair of boots. We say, look, son, come on, you're coming out of retirement, you're going to play in our midfield. Would you be up for that idea?
Mate, I'll take Arteta over a lot of these midfielders. I genuinely would.
Yeah, surely a 38-year-old Arteta's got to be better than Granit Xhaka, hasn't he?
Oh, bro, listen, that stat on Sky Sports. I know people say because he's being played deep, but he's played deep for a reason, and he is naturally meant to be a deep line playmaker anyway. So it shouldn't matter if he's playing deep. It's the player's characteristics. It's his belief in what he sees. Now he sees football is played. Why he's playing so much sideways, backwards passes. That for me doesn't come down to a manager. Like we've all played football before, and the way I see football, I like to play progressive football. Like if I play football with my mates, I'm always trying to look forward.
Did you see the meme on TikTok?
Listen,
of Granit Xhaka?
From when the Wolves official account is doing that, then you know you've got no respect in this game. I woke up this morning, I was like, oh my god. The disrespect, like, oh, yeah, man.
It's the way he was running backwards as well. It's like
he was lost. He didn't know what to do.
go and put pressure on the man. You know,
He doesn't know what to do.
if you try and win the ball and you don't succeed, right? Then but running backwards towards your own goal and doing absolutely nothing to stop the pass from coming through. It's not good enough, is it, mate?
It's
You
not
know.
good enough. It's not good enough. But this is why I'm not so Arteta out, because like I don't know, like I'm just thinking of me as a player playing as a striker. Me as a player playing as a striker. I might not say it out loud, but I'll be thinking like this guy should not be in the team. And
Mm,
when I see the likes of Aubameyang playing the way he's playing, I'm not surprised if a lot of players are saying a lot of their teammates shouldn't be in the team. They're probably all saying it about each other. I would not be surprised, because players, they're human beings themselves. Just because they play for the team don't mean they're not thinking these things. So when you're looking amongst you, when you're going home on the coach of the games, you've just lost the game or you didn't perform well, and you're looking and you're thinking, man, I'm actually playing in a terrible team. Or even players that play in your position, it must be so like so much. It must give you so much confidence loss when you look at Xhaka and you're a midfielder and he's playing over you. And this is where I mean when there's no quality in your team. I don't. When there's no quality in your team, I don't. It doesn't surprise me that this team performs so poor as a collective.
mm, yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally get where you're coming from as well, mate. You know, um, obviously at the moment you're supportive of the manager,
Mhm.
and I respect that. And you're a big advocate of getting this board out. You've whenever you've voiced your opinion on Arsenal, you've always said that the board is the biggest problem. Um,
Listen, if we got a new owner, like say for instance, Osmanov didn't leave the team, and you're still there at this minute, and he ended up getting full ownership of the club, and he says Arteta is not good enough, I'm leaving him on. Like it would not bother me because I've not got no attachment to Arteta. Like
mm,
Arsenal is my beloved club. So if
yeah,
he says I'm going to go and get this club a manager that I see fit enough to take this club to where it should be, I'm all for it. But the fact that you bring in a manager who, yes, most fans didn't want, but that's the budget of what you're trying to pay for. Am I then going to be upset at that when I know it's not his fault? And then when I've used my logic and I've said, okay, this is not a short term fix, nothing's going to change overnight. Let's give this manager the tools he needs so I can assess him properly and see if he's the right fit for a long term project, which is 3 to 5 years basically. But in order for this project to be a success, it's got to be planned right and it's got to be things need to be implemented from everyone that's involved. It can't just be down to the manager. It can't just
yeah,
be down to the recruitment staff. It's the collective overall. So me sacking Arteta, it's still going to be a 3 to 5 year project anyway, whatever manager you bring in. So if you therefore bring in a manager that you deem fit enough, good enough, got the right experience to take this job on, if you still don't back him and give him what he wants, then the project is still a failure. The project ain't suddenly going to be a success just because you brought in a successful manager. Like we can bring in a manager in who might play a different type of football that may suit the likes of Granit Xhaka or whatever. But I guarantee that football is not going to give us that success that we want. We might just be a mid-table team that's just circling around seventh.
mm,
And for me, that's not good enough. So if we need to stick with Arteta, this is where I'm seeing it. We need to stick with him and assess him over, say, another transfer window where he gets a quality player. Because let's face it, when you talk about philosophy, like the likes of Barca, when Quayface went there, got them playing this amazing football, like he progressed with it, he stuck with it because he believed in his philosophy. And I feel that's the same with Arteta. I don't feel Arteta wants to play a different sort of way, because if he strays away from that, it defeats the object of his philosophy. So he wants to stick with it. And I understand fans, because we're fans, we want immediate results. We want to win games. So we're not looking and seeing that logic of maybe he's not trying to stray away from that, because that's the way he sees Arsenal's future. That's the way he sees us playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the way I think he sees it. I don't think he wants to change it and get immediate rewards, because it defeats his purpose of being there and what he actually sets out to do. He just wants the right players to implement his style. It's the same as when Guardiola came in. Think about how many pundits were saying, "Oh, he needs to switch it up. This is the English game. Like, you can't be coming in thinking that you can do all this." But Guardiola didn't switch it. But the only difference between Guardiola and Arteta was that they were still able to get results playing the way they were playing. But remember, the quality they had was always going to shine in most games.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely agree there. So with Arteta then, given time, do you think he can turn it around? Do you think he can become a top manager for Arsenal, even underneath this board? Because if we're being real, the Kroenkes isn't going anywhere, are they?
I don't think they're going anywhere. The only reason why I have belief in what maybe Arteta can do as a long-term success is if he managed to implement the style that he's trying to play, if he managed to slowly bed in his talent that he may or may not get. I feel there will become a time where you might get some quality players who actually go on and make a name for themselves, where you can end up selling them on. And then I feel that's the route we're going to go down, where we can sell on players for a decent amount of profit, where you can keep investing it back in the club. And I feel that's where we're going to elevate ourselves.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can really ask you, Kesh. I think we've covered most of it, to be fair. We are going to wrap up.
Your score prediction?
Yeah, exactly. But before we do wrap up, I just want a score prediction from you, mate. Are you confident?
I'm not confident at all. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Spurs.
1-0 Spurs.
I see it as a 1-0 Spurs, yeah.
Jeez. Good God. Oh, mate, please no. Please no.
Listen, my whole weekend is going to be upset, but I'm preparing myself for it. I'm hoping these boys can come out, put in a performance that absolutely make my weekend a dream. And I can just say, well done, boys. Like, I'm sorry for doubting you. You went and put a smile on my face. You showed us that you've got it in a locker to go and win this sort of game this season. And then hopefully we can push on from there. So hopefully they prove us wrong.
Do you know what? I'm not confident one little bit, but because it is Spurs, and Spurs have a tendency of, as we say, Spursing it up. And also because the odds are stacked against us like, never before. Our manager's under a lot of pressure. These players, under a lot of pressure. I don't know, mate. I can see us either nicking a win or, maybe worst case getting a draw. I don't think it's cut and dry. I don't think it's as cut and dry as what the Tottenham fans certainly think anyway, because a lot of them seem to think that they're going to come and slap 3, 4, 5 past us. And I look at it and I think, our players recently have been well and truly out of form, or they've just been crap, and I look at one player in particular, if he plays, who will be, I think he'll be hungry, and that is Aubameyang, because he's been getting a lot of criticism lately, since he signed his contract. He's not done anything. He's not done much. And he does score against Spurs. He does like scoring against Spurs. He even used to like scoring against Spurs in Dortmund
Yeah.
when he played for Dortmund. And another player as well, Lacazette. A lot of people, and I completely agree with them, been calling him lack of threat, lack of goals, lack of this, lack of that. But one thing about Lacazette is he does bang in the big games. And I think if them two click, and if we get them two into the game properly for a decent amount of time, and it all for me rides on who starts and what kind of system we play. If Thomas Partey is in the midfield, then it's definitely an added boost.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as well, if Arteta plays a similar system to what he played in the Europa League last night,
Mm-hmm.
then I don't know. I think, am I going to sit on the fence here? Do you know what? I'm going to go 1-1. I'm going to go 1-1. I'm going to go 1-1. I mean, we don't even know. Is Harry Kane back for Spurs? I mean, there was talk about him.
I think they're playing games. I don't think he's gonna miss this game. There's talks that Lloris might be out as well. I think it's just Jose Mourinho playing games.
Yeah. I thought that as well. Harry Kane. It would be a big miss for Spurs, but it's a worry in a way because unlike Arsenal, we've got one player effectively who scores goals consistently, and now that he's not doing it, we're seeing how bang average our team is. Whereas, even with Harry Kane missing, I can still see goals in that Tottenham team, and that's worrying.
They've still got goals in that team. That's what I'm saying, but that's what our fans don't see though. Like, I don't see how you can suddenly give us goals when even before the manager was here, it was only Aubameyang that was scoring. Even under Wenger, yes, he had a few other people that would chip in, but our main goal scorer was a Sanchez. You know what I mean? Like, we've never had players all over the pitch who was giving us goals, like 10 goals in this window. Like, it was only one player that was always carrying that burden. And that's why, and that's where we struggle because we don't identify these things when we're recruiting. And that's the thing that confused me. Like, you can't constantly be buying a prolific goal scorer and not look at the rest of the team. That's where we go wrong.
Yeah.
Like, imagine the Liverpool. If it was only Salah that was scoring, you wouldn't get the same results.
No, that's right. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Just quickly before we do go, what do you make of Harry Kane's new position? He's sort of in and around that 10 role, a bit like what Lacazette was playing last night. And
it's not really a new position. It's just the instructions. Like, he's still playing as a striker, but what he does is he's coming. The thing is, he was always coming deep. But when he was coming deep, for instance, he would come deep, get the ball, and lay it off, then make his move. But what you're seeing now, he's coming deep, he's getting on the ball, and he's turning, and he's looking for options. He's looking to make passes rather than just lay it off.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, if our man Laka is in that same role tomorrow, hopefully he can take one or two tips off Harry Kane. But tomorrow, Sunday, sorry. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Kesh, you've gone 1-0 to Spurs. I'm gonna go 1-1. I think. I don't think it's as cut and dry as what everybody thinks. But yeah, thank you for joining me today, Kesh.
No problem,
and to everybody and anybody who is watching, which is not a lot of you, as I can see, but we'll get there. That's the preview to the North London derby. Hopefully, we can get a win. And hopefully, you won't see me on the football terrace ranting and raving on Sunday evening. But there we go. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Anybody who is watching and hasn't already yet, please smash the like buttons, hit the share button, and subscribe. And come on, you Gunners.